from all over the world. On behalf of Africa, I'm delighted to welcome you all to this gathering of a diverse group from all walks of life. I'm sure that each one of you will carry something of great value from here today that will redirect your lives for better. I send you best wishes for good health, peace, and happiness during this trying time. May the Almighty protect you and your families from all problem and obstacle and help you to bring newness into your lives. Om Shanti. We all join to light the candle for the experience of real peace. With this simple ceremony, I send you my warmest and best blessing. May this Future of Power program bring enlightenment into your life and that you become powerful and courageous and a great leader in managing your affairs in all aspects of your life and in particular, your spiritual life. Stay at home, stay safe. Om Shanti.
Thank you very much, Sister Vedanti, for your warm welcome. And now I'd like to introduce our next panelist, Nazar Duma. Nazar is an economist and he's had a stellar career in commerce and industry. He's best known for being the manufacturer of Adidas for 49 countries in Africa. Nazar has been actively involved in a voluntary capacity as chairman of some of the boards of the Aga Khan Development Network in their social welfare activities, including hospitals and also their for-profit companies. Nazar is the chairman of 50 companies. He is the recipient of awards like the Silver Star in Kenya and the Bharat Gaurav in India. He is also the initiator of this Future of Power program. And as I mentioned, this is the 69th event. Nazar has partnered with like-minded leaders from the United Nations and others to create the Blue Company Project to fight against the evils of corruption in Africa. Sister Shivani, who's well known to most of you, is a speaker for the Brahmakumaris and has a number of TV programs and that has been showed all over the world. She has visited many countries to share her insights on how to make this knowledge practical. So now I introduce you to Nazar Duma.
Okay, so you've just heard Stephen say a brief word about Future Power, that this is our 69th program and the first one digitally. And you might have also seen that we do this program. We've done it in cities all over the world. We've done them all over India, in Nepal, in Philippines, in America, and also in Australia. So this is the first one, as I said, digitally. So if you will see on the background or to our invitation program, you will see that this is done in participation with the Brahmakumaris. And this is a program that I initiated, and from the beginning, I've done it in partnership with the Brahmakumaris. And some people ask me and say, why the Brahmakumaris? And I need to explain this right in the beginning so that it's clear. I have been exposed to the Brahmakumaris now for almost 30 years. And from the beginning, have learned a great deal about spirituality. And I think I need to tell you that we need to separate here religion and spirituality. Religion is something we all understand about. We are all grown up with it. We are all told when we were knee-high that this is your religion, this is the best religion, this is the one that you need to follow, and all the others are inferior. And that's what all religions do, so it's nothing strange. Spirituality, on the other hand, is a little bit different because spirituality is about spirits. And each one of us is a spirit, that is a soul, and we all belong to one Father. So when we are following spirituality, there are no backgrounds or tribe or color or religion that we look at. So Brahmakumaris, they have about 8,000 centers in 130 countries all over the world. So if you go to Miami, you will see Americans. You go to France, you will see French people. Go to South Africa, you will see South Africa. You go to our center in Nairobi, you will see Kenyans. So here, it doesn't matter what your background, color, religion is, we are all spirits coming together. And from the Brahmakumaris, I have learned this, that there is one Father, and we all belong to us, whatever is our color, religion, or nationality. If you look at the 3 or 4 presenters today, for example, you will see that I am with a Muslim background. Sister Shivani is a Hindu background. Sister Judy is with Christian background. And Stephen is also with Christian background. So all of us come together and we do this program together. So it does not mean that we drop our religion in order to join the Brahmakumaris, because that is not a religion, it is a spiritual organization. So the Brahmakumaris over the last 28 years, I always say that they have civilized me. And by civilized, I mean that I was running probably 3 or 4 companies in those days. I had constant stress. I was constantly angry. I got ulcers. I drank enormous quantities of alcohol, and so on and so forth. Learning the knowledge from the Brahmakumaris, I slowly became civilized and got my sanity back. And so I learned how to not have stress. I learned to not be angry. I learned how to adopt a diet which is more acceptable, which is a vegetarian diet. I dropped alcohol, and I did so many other things which helped me a great deal to live a life which I value. And even today, I'm able to run lots and lots of companies or be responsible for them. But I do it with very little stress, and therefore I also was able to give up anger. I no longer have ulcers, and so I have a much better quality of life. My family was better off because of that. My children even told me when I started doing this and they saw the changes in me that we don't know what you are doing, but whatever it is, please don't stop. So that is my background and my relationship with the Brahmakumaris. So from Brahmakumaris, I have learned how to bring spirituality into my daily life. And the program that we run called The Future Power is also about bringing spirituality into our daily life. And this is slightly different from what we do in religions and what we do as a matter of form in religions, this bringing spirituality is a little different. It means that if I decide today that from tomorrow I will not give sorrow to anyone, or that I will be honest in all my dealings in everything that I do, that I shall be truthful, that I shall give up anger or ego, all of these things, once I start adopting them into my daily life, I've started to incorporate spirituality into my life. It means I don't have to go to a place of ritual. I don't have to act in a particular way, wear particular clothes. I just start bringing spirituality, which is to work with truthfulness, to work with honesty, and to work in a way which is spiritual. So that is what we are saying that we need to adopt into our daily life. Now, what's happening today is that we are all under considerable stress of the times, and things are getting worse. And there will be more unemployment, more companies will fold, air travel will become more difficult, hotels will become more difficult to use, and so on and so forth. So I think that we are already in a situation of stress, and we are going to be more and more into stress. So how do we encounter this? How do we face this? Because each one of us needs to be a responsible leader. And it's not that just only a leader is that one who is a leader or a CEO or a COO or somebody like that. Each of us are leaders in our own way. Even a housewife is a leader because she runs a household, she manages a family, she does all of those things as a leader. And so we now want to decide how to become a spiritually active leader who is responsible. And so the first thing that we need to adopt as a leader is to learn how to meditate. If you want to give up stress and do some of the things that I've been telling you, we have to learn to meditate. And the question is, who meditates today? Every meeting that I go to and I ask people to show hands if they meditate or have a quiet time, or 60% of the world today does some form of meditation. It's the most acceptable pastime now in Harvard Business School. Most major hospitals are using meditation as a cure. I have a 6-year-old grandson in Sydney who is being taught how to meditate in his school. 80% of all the CEOs and most successful people in the world meditate. So today I'm going to show you a very shortcut of how to meditate. First thing is that I have to learn about who I am. And that's an important question. You might say, I can go back 10 generations or 20. It's not what I'm talking about. We need to ask ourselves by that, who am I? And the answer to that question is, I am not this body, but I am a soul. And we talk about he was a good soul, a bad soul, he's a good soul. We pray that his soul rests in eternal peace, but we don't relate to what that soul, the entity is. So we often think we are this body and somewhere we have a soul. Actually, we are the soul and we adopt a body. And the soul rests here in the center of the forehead, just behind the eyes. So quite often you see women wearing a tilak here, and if you ask them why they wear it, they'll tell you it's fashion. Some of them now even wear diamond ones. But it is to denote that they are a soul, that we are all souls. We live here. From here, we can see, we can hear, we can do everything. We control the body from here. So that is the first thing we need to learn, is that we are souls, not bodies. As souls, we are the driver of the car. Without the soul, the car is nothing. When we are dead, we have no feelings, no pain, no anything. It is the soul that has the intellect, it has the memory. The soul has the power of the intellect and to decide. It is the soul. So we, as a first step to learning how to meditate, is to become soul conscious. We look like a point of light, like a shining star, and we are here. We can't see it because anything which is really important is subtle. For example, air. We all are breathing air all the time. Without air, we'll be dead, but you can't see it. You know it's there. In the same way, we know the soul is there because when the soul leaves the body, we are gone. The body is then, you can burn it, you can bury it, you can do whatever you want. So that is the quality of the soul. We need to start thinking, I am a soul, and become soul conscious. Through the soul, I control this body. If we are a point of light, then the Supreme Soul is also the point of light. And we need to become one, to fuse between us and the point of light. And this is the best form of meditation. You will want to practice this later on in the program. Sister Judy will also take you into a meditation experience where she will tell you how to meditate point of light to point of light. And this is the best thing that you will do in your life. With this, you will become powerful. You will be able to handle all the problems that are coming because you are now in communications with God. I am a businessman. I live in your world. I come from the corporate world. I manage businesses worth billions of dollars. And I am telling you that this is something that helps me tremendously every day, and it will also help you. Of course, there are other ways in which you can also become powerful, but this is one of the best ways where you can connect with the Supreme Soul and you can get power. Power to sort all the problems that are being thrown at you every day, because they are becoming more and more every day. There are problems of family, there are problems socially, there are problems of business or workplace. There are problems of all of those which are increasing. And this is one way in which you can become powerful, you can communicate with the Supreme Soul, and you can start to use this in a positive way. You will see that the experience of this plays more and more in your life, or plays a greater part, and the benefit of that you need to experience. Don't take my word for it. You need to experience that problem. The other thing that you also need to do is that you need to start adopting spiritual ways, other spiritual ways. For example, we have to decide, for example, as I was saying earlier, not to give sorrow to anyone, because this is the philosophy of karma. We know that if we give sorrow, we'll take sorrow back. You give happiness, you get happiness back. If you donate money, you get money back. This is the third principle of Newton. For every action has a direct and opposite reaction. So this is the philosophy of karma. We understand that. It exists in all religions. In Christianity, they say, as you sow, so shall you reap. And even in Islam, they don't call it karma, they call it kifara. And that is also that you will get back whatever you give. So this is something that you have to be constantly aware of. You have to keep this in your intellect. You have to stop giving sorrow to others for whatever reason. You need to stop doing that. Also, we need to stop getting angry, and we need to stop thinking negative thoughts. I have very little time, so I'm afraid that I'm not able to go into a great deal of details. I know that my fellow presenters will also go into some of these details. I consider to learn to meditation to be the most important thing, and therefore I have touched on that as being the most important part of my talk today. My time is almost up, so I want to introduce to you the next speaker, presenter, is Sister Shivani. She is a star. She's a Brahmakumari star. Everybody worldwide knows her. She's like a film star, but she's a spiritual film star. She has the ability to, in very simple language, be able to explain very, very complicated issues. And whoever it is, even when I sit and listen to her, I cannot but fail to be amazed at how she converts everything into very simple solutions. And I'm sure that she will offer that to you today. We are delighted that she was able to join us today. She has lots and lots of demands on her time, and I'm grateful to her that she is here today in front of us. Please welcome Sister Shivani.
Om Shanti. Thank you so much, Brother Nazar, for those kind words and blessings always. Very, very beautifully shared, profound words, which can create a shift, not only in our lives, but create a ripple effect on many, many lives around us, whether it's at home, at work, in the city, in the country, in the world. During the current times, when we talk to leaders, corporate leaders, I remember earlier when we went to meet, when we went for corporate workshops, we used to talk to people and we said, spiritual quotient is important. And they would be like, yes, yes, yes. But now it's the other way around. Now every webinar, they are the ones who are telling us, do you know now every leader has to have a SQ, and spiritual quotient. So at least everyone has started talking about this now. Now, the only important thing is, what is this SQ? What is spiritual quotient? When we hear the word spirituality, we have a very different picture in our mind. And that's why some of us feel, I don't need it, or I'm not ready for it, or maybe I can do it a little later, because we think spirituality means wearing some typical set of color of clothes, leading a life which is different from our day-to-day lives, maybe living in an ashram, a very strict regime of lifestyle disciplines. So that's what spirituality is, a picture on our mind. But like Brother Nazar shared, spirituality is actually a high vibrational lifestyle. Spirituality comes from the word spirit, and spirit means I, the being. Now, the original nature, the original quality of every being, every soul, is purity, peace, power, love, happiness, knowledge, and bliss. 7 qualities of every spirit, which means 7 qualities of every energy. We can call it energy, we can call it consciousness, we can call it soul, spirit, light. The word really does not matter. It's the understanding that I, the being, this is my body, and then these are my roles and responsibilities. But what happened in the last couple of years, I forgot that it is I, the being, with all those qualities, and the only thing I looked at as my identity was my body, my role, my relationships, my position. I wanted everything to be perfect. So I aimed at a perfect body, a beautiful family, and then of course my achievements. During this process, I forgot to take care of the being. And so what started happening was, this being started getting a little weaker. When we don't take care of something, it starts getting weaker. Even if this is my hand, and I don't take care of it, and if I hurt it, and I still don't take care of it, then the same hand which can do almost everything for me starts creating pain while it's doing the normal day-to-day tasks. If I still don't take care, then this hand is not even able to do my day-to-day tasks. And if I still don't take care, I may not be able to use my hand anymore for my normal tasks. Same with my mind. Because I was not taking care of this being, I started creating anxiety. I started creating stress. Maybe it was the first signs of stress, because stress is not a very old concept. When I was in school and college, so let's say we go back 20, 25 years back, there was no such word as stress. Stress was in physics, not in emotions. We didn't walk around saying, I'm stressed, you're stressed, we are stressed. Stress was only in science, and the word stress is equal to pressure divided by resilience. So the formula was very clear. Stress is equal to pressure divided by resilience. What we did was, we ignored the denominator and we said pressures are increasing. And so we believed that stress is increasing because we were only focusing on the numerator. The numerator kept increasing in the last couple of years. Last 2 months, 3 months, numerator has increased, but we're not taking care of denominator. And so we said stress, anxiety, fear is normal, which meant this mind started creating pain, discomfort. And even then, we didn't stop to heal it. We didn't stop to energize it. We didn't stop to strengthen it. In fact, we said, this pain is normal. I think one of the biggest mistakes as a society, what we have made is, we labeled the pain as normal. So we said stress is normal, anger is normal, hatred is normal, hurt is normal, jealousy is normal, competition is normal. Everything that was going to create discomfort here, we labeled it as normal. It's then when the risky part starts, when you call it normal. So once I start labeling the pain as normal, I don't think I have to do anything to heal it. And that's why we said, we don't need spirituality, we don't need meditation, we are fine. And definitely not at this phase in life, maybe later on when we have time. And so we continued our day-to-day living with the mind which was not in its best strength. With that little pain and discomfort, we were able to manage our lives. But because we were not healing it, the pain only started escalating. And we also called that as normal. And the effect of this pain here was radiating to our body, manifesting as disease, radiating to people, creating conflicts in relationship, radiating into the environment, and we know what we did to nature and the world. So every thought we create here creates our emotional and mental health, radiates to the body, creates physical health, radiates to people, creates relationship, and then radiates into the environment. We're all talking about climate change. We're all talking about the collective consciousness of the planet. How will we be able to change the climate unless we change our emotions? Our emotions have a very powerful role on the environment. So everything is happening from here. In Hindi, it's a very powerful line, Sankalp se Srishti, which means our thoughts create our world. And what is spirituality? What is meditation? They are tools. They are tools to strengthen the soul so that my every thought is right. So that my every thought is a high vibration thought. And if my every thought is right, then my world will be right. And my world means my health, my relationships, my work, my environment. Because Sankalp se Srishti, my thoughts create my world. So if anyone wants to ask themselves, do I need spirituality? They just need to ask, at which vibration am I living? If I'm living at a vibration of stress, anxiety, if I get disturbed when situations and people are not my way, if I react to the situation and I believe it's normal, if I get irritated, if I get angry, if I'm not able to forget things of the past, if I'm not being able to be nice to those who've not been nice to me, if I'm not able to accept people, if I'm not able to remain calm in a crisis, then I'm emotionally not strong and I need healing. So like we check our physical health, we also need to check our emotional health. So this would be a low vibration. Now, meditation and spirituality, which means knowing who am I and connecting to the higher power. Why do I need to connect to God? Why do I need to remember God? Why do I need to study what God teaches me? Why? Because whoever I remember, I will get connected to their vibration. So anyone can experiment with this. Just sit back and remember someone. Remember a family member and just concentrate on that remembrance. And within some time, you will be able to feel the vibration of that person, which means if they are going through a particular emotion, you'll be able to feel it. And we've all experienced this. Your child could be in another city or a country, and the parent says, I don't know, I'm feeling something is not right. And everybody says, it's okay, don't think. Say, no, I'm feeling it, something is not right. How are you feeling it? Your child hasn't informed you. It's because you remember your child often. And because you remember your child, you're able to catch the state of mind of your child. Because whoever we remember, we catch their vibrations and we get connected to their frequency. So if I remember someone who's anxious, I will consume anxiety because I will get connected to their frequency. And that's why every religion taught us, remember only the one. Spirituality teaches us, connect and remember only the one. Why? Because that is the one who is the highest frequency. Highest frequency, the ocean of peace and purity, the ocean of power and love. And so if I remember the highest vibration, my vibrations will start rising. That's why we need to remember God. That's why we need to meditate. So meditation and daily spiritual study will shift us in our vibrations. We will shift from complaining, criticizing, comparing, competing, and those low vibration emotions. We will shift gradually, one step at a time, but gradually we will shift to a very high vibrational state, which is gratitude, compassion, calm, cooperation, acceptance, forgiveness, letting go, unconditional love, emotionally independent, which means there can be chaos outside and you can choose to be calm. Somebody can be rude to you and you can choose to be very respectful and polite because emotionally independent. Those who will be at a higher vibration will be emotionally independent because they are strong enough to choose their thoughts and feelings. But those who are vibrating at a lower frequency, they cannot choose. They say, they irritated me, she upset me, he hurt me. They're living a life of emotional dependence. This was always important to shift ourselves to a higher frequency, but more now than ever before. Because if we want to have a good physical immunity system, we first also need to create a strong emotional immunity system. If we want to manage our work and our people, then the leadership qualities we need now would be intuitive power, creative power, and most important, compassion for people who are working with us, for us, or whom we are working for. Compassion, intuitive, and creative. These will be the qualities that would be needed by every leader. So a leader now needs to have resilience, and resilience is that denominator. Stress is equal to pressure divided by resilience. So no complaining and focusing on the numerator, but shifting to taking charge of the denominator, resilience. And when we start taking charge of the denominator, resilience, stress automatically starts reducing, reaching a stage where you can be at a high vibrational frequency throughout the day. We're going to be celebrating Yoga Day tomorrow all over the world. So that means a yogi lifestyle. Yoga or yoga is not what we do for 30 minutes or 60 minutes. Yogi lifestyle means a high vibrational lifestyle. Yogi lifestyle does not mean living in an ashram. That is a way of living which some of us choose because we dedicate our life for humanity. But yogi life does not mean that we have to live in an ashram. I can live in an ashram and be at a very low vibrational frequency. I can do that. I can live in an ashram, complain, criticize, get angry. I can do that. And I can also do, like Brother Nazar said, live in the world, doing business, $1 million business, and be calm and peaceful. Why? Because they're two different worlds, the outside world and the inner world. So yogi lifestyle means the inner world is at a high frequency. And that's why more so than ever before, spirituality and meditation, now not an option. Really now not an option. Earlier we used to say, okay, if you're interested, if you like it, please come to the center, please learn meditation. Now, no. Now we feel like telling people, please come, you really need it. Now it's not optional. Now it should be necessary. It's a necessity, not just for you, but your power will affect your family, your team. When lockdown is over and we get back to work, people who we will be working with may not be at that same vibration at which they were before March 2020. A lot of people would have changed in these last 3 months. And we have to be ready to accept that shift, that change, to be able to be compassionate, take care of the capacity at which they can work with now, and do a lot of hand-holding. So leadership now would be about people first. We would need to take care of people first. But the panic that we have created in the last 2 months about our business and the economy, everybody is focusing on figures. This is not the time. It will need to be the time of people first. So to be able to take care of people, each one of us will first have to take care of the person inside here. Can't take care of people without taking care of the person here, the being. So meditation means first knowing myself. And myself means knowing my true identity. I'm a pure, peaceful, powerful being. Then start creating the right inner conversation, which means a conversation of the right thoughts, and then the right outer conversation of the right words. So when we take out a little time in the morning for meditation, we take one thought. So let's say today I take a thought of peace, or I take a thought of love. So create an affirmation and visualize that affirmation, because we're using the 3 faculties of the soul: mind, intellect, and sanskar. So let's say, for example, creating a thought, I am a peaceful being. Not I want peace, not I should be peaceful, not I wish I was peaceful. I am a peaceful being. When I create a thought, I am a peaceful being, I am reminding myself of who I am. I'm creating a programming of who I am. And most important, I'm writing an affirmation here which will manifest and become my reality during the day, because sankalp se siddhi, thoughts manifest. So I am a peaceful being. Now we start visualizing this. So visualize your day, driving through traffic, at work, sometimes things not going your way, again back home in the evening, scene after scene after scene. Just take this one thought, I am a peaceful being, and visualize that peaceful being during the day. You're programming your mind how to be. Second stage, I'm a child of the supreme power, the ocean of peace. This is a time to create a very, very personal relationship with the higher power. We are going through a situation where the outer powers are not being able to give us the complete solution. Whether it's the power of science, whether it's the power of governance, we're not getting right solutions. Some things working, some things not working. This is the time to use the two powers which are not visible. And those two powers are the higher power and the inner power. And when this inner power is energized by connecting to the higher power, then we will be able to take care of everything that's in the outside world. So I am a peaceful being, and then I connect to the ocean of peace, create a personal relationship with God, tell God about everything of your life. Tell God about your business. Tell God about whatever issues there that's happening at your workplace. Tell God about your financial problems. Talk. It's a personal relationship with a parent, teacher, and a guide. And then surrender. Surrender. Surrender and say, I am your instrument. You guide me, and that's how I will be throughout the day. You guide me, and that's how I will work throughout the day. You keep telling me what's right, what's not. Surrender to the higher power. This is something to be experienced. We have to learn it, experiment it, and then start experiencing it. And when we create that beautiful personal connection with the higher power, the first experience is a sense of security. Feels very safe, very, very safe and protected. And very certain, very, very certain, not just about our life, but also about everything that we do. So this is an experiment which we need to start. An experiment of a beautiful relationship with the self and a relationship with the higher power. And when these two powers get connected, the higher power and the inner power, then I, the being, start vibrating at a higher frequency. And when I start vibrating at a higher frequency, then my world starts changing. And that's why at the Brahmakumaris, we have a very, very beautiful tagline. And it is, when I change, my world changes. And this happens in both directions. If I change and go to a lower frequency, my world changes. So if you say 20 years back, no word as stress, diabetes, hypertension, not very common, divorce is a stigma, depression, not heard of. But in the last 20, 30 years, not taking care of our mind, I changed. And I changed to a lower vibration. My world changed. Now, with the spiritual practice, study and meditation, I will again change. And I will change to a higher vibration. And then I will create happiness, health, harmony, and heaven on earth. That's the power we have. We can't just change ourselves. Self-change will create a change in the world. So for happiness, health, harmony, and heaven on earth, it's a yogi lifestyle. Very, very simple things which each one of us can start from today itself. Yogi lifestyle. First thing in the morning, very, very important leadership quality. First thing in the morning, Please stay away from your phone for an hour. Stay away from the phone for an hour. Because if we check our phones first thing in the morning, then we consume the world onto our mind. And once we consume the world onto our minds, then our mind is vibrating at the same frequency like the world. The first hour of the morning is to consume God's knowledge and power on the mind. And that's why we were taught, well begun, half done. So well begun means the morning 1 hour needs to be well begun. So what we do at the Brahmakumaris, very simple practice, but very, very powerful, can change destinies. That first hour of the morning is for meditation and spiritual study. Before we check our phones, before we check the newspaper, first hour, spiritual study and meditation, which means consuming the highest power onto the mind and raising our vibration. Then out into the day. So yogi lifestyle means the first hour is very important of the morning. Second thing which is very important for a yogi lifestyle is the last hour before you sleep. Most of us don't sleep very well. We sleep enough, but we don't sleep well. And if we don't sleep well, then it's not energizing for the mind or for the body. So the last hour before we sleep, we need to again disconnect from our work. This is very important for a leader and also for heads of organization to make this a culture of your workplace. Our people are coming tired to work every day because they're not sleeping right. They're checking their emails and messages the last thing before going to sleep. If I keep checking my emails and messages just before I sleep, then after that only the body will sleep. I've given my mind enough food to think about. And that's why during the night also, I'm creating stress and anxiety. And then that's radiating to my body. And so my body is not healing right during those 6 hours of sleep. So at least an hour before sleeping, disconnecting from technology, disconnecting from work communication. It should be a work culture that nobody calls up each other, messages or emails, or anybody's obliged to reply to messages and emails. Once we are back home in the evening, at least for 2 hours before we sleep. And then no world news, no content consumption, no social media handles, the last hour before sleeping. That last hour is to relax the mind, slow down the speed of thinking, again at least 10 minutes of spiritual study. Because the content that will go on the mind the last thing before we sleep is the processing that will happen during the next 6 hours. So at least 10 minutes of spiritual study, and again a connection with that highest power, which means meditation. If we meditate and then go to sleep, then our sleep will also be in a meditative state. And that's why it's called Yog Nidra. Yog Nidra means even sleeping is yoga. It's a meditation. But that will only happen if I take care in that last hour before I go to sleep. So the first hour of the morning and the last hour before we sleep is very important for this inner power, for emotional health, for our mental health, for our physical health, and for our work. And the last thing is our diet. If we want a high vibrational lifestyle, if we want to be calm, fearless, then we have to take care of what we eat and drink. And that's why, like Brother Nazar shared, that spirituality helped him to shift his lifestyle in terms of eating and drinking. If we are consuming any substance, which is a depleter for the mind and for the body, then that's not good for me. That's not a leadership quality, because leader is here. So let's experiment. Let's give ourselves 2 months to experiment. Just take it up as an experiment. 2 months of a high vibrational lifestyle, not just a high nutrition, but high vibrational diet, which means experimenting with a vegetarian diet. And these are the times anyways, doctors are recommending a vegetarian diet because we need the body to be alkaline. But a vegetarian diet is also a high vibrational diet, because a non-vegetarian diet would have vibrations of pain, fear, anxiety, helplessness, violence, and then death. It is proteins, but I'm not sure who called it health. So let's start having a high vibrational diet. And just before eating, this is very important. Something very, very powerful that I learned when I come to the Brahmakumaris is the effect of mind on the food which is being cooked, and the effect of the vibrations of the food on the mind of the one who's having the meal. Very, very powerful tool. Very powerful. So take care of who's cooking for you. It's very important who's cooking for you. In what state of mind are they cooking? If someone is anxious or stressed while cooking, that food would not be the right meal to have. It's a low vibrational diet. So let's have somebody cooking for you in a very calm, peaceful state, in a meditative state, playing spiritual songs in the kitchen, which energize the water, the grains, the vegetables, the fruits. And then while eating, no phones, no TVs while eating. These are very, very simple lifestyle habits, yogi lifestyle, which will energize us. No phones and TV while eating. At least 30 seconds, pause before eating. Connecting to the higher power. Creating that affirmation again, I'm a peaceful being. I'm a child of the ocean of peace. Energizing your food with the vibrations of God first thing before eating. Energize your food and water with the vibrations of the higher power. So as is the food, so will be the mind. As is the vibration of the water, so will be our mind and words. So first thing in the morning, last thing before we sleep, then food, water, and of course, definitely not any substances which are addictive. A leader cannot have an addiction, because an addiction is a dependency, and leadership quality cannot have dependency as a part of their personality. You cannot even say, I cannot do without my morning cup of tea or coffee. Drink your morning cup of tea or coffee, but don't say, I cannot do without my morning cup of tea, because a leader cannot say, I cannot do without this. That is a weakness. That's a dependency. So leadership quality is the power to influence. Power to influence. The times that we're going through now, words will not be enough to motivate people. But when you're vibrating at a higher frequency, your vibrations will influence people and empower them. So influencing people by who we are, energizing them, empowering them, healing them. Healing them. So everyone who will come in your energy space, your family, your children, your friends, your colleagues, everyone will start getting energized just because of the vibration at which you are living in your life. So spirituality and meditation takes us at a high vibrational lifestyle. So when the lockdown is over, you're most welcome to the centers. At every center, the sisters are there to teach us Raj Yoga meditation, which means knowing ourselves, knowing the higher power, and most important, creating a personal relationship with God. And sisters are always there to teach us this meditation. And so you're most welcome to the Brahmakumari centers to learn this art of meditation, which now really needs to become a part of our lifestyle, part of our personality, not a once in a while thing, not an optional thing, but a part of our life, so that we're always vibrating at a leadership frequency. Thank you so much. Om Shanti.
Well, thank you very much, Sister Shivani. And I'm sure that our 90 plus participants on this call and over 240 people that have joined us on YouTube have really picked up on those key two words about vibrational frequency. So thank you very much. And I'm sure you're starting to maybe get some questions in your mind. And at the end of the program, there'll be an opportunity for question and answers. So if you've got some questions that are coming up, please type that into the chat box. And when you're doing that, just please type the name of the person that you want to address the question to. So whether it's to Brother Nazar or Sister Shivani or Sister Judy, just please type that in as you're typing it into the chat box. And now it's my great pleasure to introduce to you Sister Judy Rogers. Judy has worked at the intersection of media, business and education for over 30 years, including some big organizations, CBS and 20th Century Fox. She's also the founding director of Images and Voices of Hope, a global dialogue project and non-for-profit foundation founded to strengthen the role of media as agents for world benefit. So Judy, welcome. Thank you very much for joining us from New York today, and over to you.
Thank you, Stephen. I thoroughly enjoyed hearing Sister Shivani. I always do. This is the third or fourth time we've been on the same program, and it's always a joy. You know, we were supposed to be together in Kenya for this conversation. And I think it speaks to the fragile times we're in, which both Nazar and Shivani Ben referenced. So if ever we needed power, if ever we needed greatness, if ever we needed leadership, it's now. I have had a lifelong interest in leadership and in these three subjects, greatness and empower. Some 30 plus years ago in these media companies that Stephen mentioned, I was producing films with business authors, book authors who were studying leadership. So we followed lots of leaders around as they talked about change and vision and all kinds of aspects of leadership. It was really interesting. But it was really later than that I really began to understand the secrets of leadership. And it was in 2006 when someone I considered to be a close friend and mentor was about to turn 90. And this was Dadi Janki, who was the leader of the Brahmakumaris, which you've heard about quite a bit. If you don't already know about the Brahmakumaris, this is a 1 million person organization with over 8,000 centers in 120 countries, thousands of properties, completely volunteer, no paid staff. So you can imagine we've had lots of people from the business world come and say, how do you do that? And so Dadi was remarkable as a leader and remarkable as a person. And so she was about to turn 90, and a friend and I approached her and said, you know, we would like to write a book in your honor. And she said, she thought about it for a minute, and she said, no, thanks. I don't really need a book in my honor. So we went back to think about it further. We came back and said, all right, forget the book in your honor. How about if we write a book about greatness in the hearts, what's going on in the hearts of people when they're doing these acts of service, acts of leadership, if we really try to understand what's going on inside. So she said, okay. And we said, and we'll come back to you periodically to kind of check in. So we began to search for these great leaders all over the world. Now you can imagine, I mean, so we looked everywhere. We looked all continents, men, women, all businesses. And we kept hearing the same 4 names, and I'm sure you know these names. So we kept hearing about Martin Luther King, Mother Teresa, Nelson Mandela, and Mahatma Gandhi. And these are, in fact, great leaders, and they weren't alive anymore, so we couldn't be interviewing them. So we thanked everyone, but said, you know, we really want to talk to living people and find out about their experience. So we got lots of names, and we traveled and interviewed lots of people. And I would say the essence of what we found, and it's a little bit what Sister Shivani was talking about, but we really found 3 things. One is that when they looked at their people in front of them. It was as if they could see into their eyes. It was as if they could see into the people and see what their specialty was, what their gift was, what they had to offer. So they had that ability to see inside. Two is they went about removing obstacles for these people and supporting them, making it possible for them to do things. And then number three is they really helped these people become great. So in the traditional leadership literature that I had been with when I was producing those films, it was often about inspiring your people to follow you. But these people that we were talking with now were inspiring their people to be great and helping them to be great. And this is a spiritual capacity, and I'm going to get to that. So I'm going to tell you a couple of stories because we don't have too much time. So I'm going to share a couple of stories with you to kind of make the application of what Sister Shivani and Nazar were talking about more clear. So one of the people we went to talk with was an educator in Scotland, in Glasgow. His name was Bart McGettrick. And when we walked in his office was filled with awards and citations and certificates and all of these honors from a very successful life. So we sat down with him and we said, so Dr. McGettrick, when you think back over your very successful career, what would you say was most important? What was it that was a highlight for you? The proudest moment for you? So he thought for a few minutes and he said, well, I'd have to say it was a time when I was the president of a college and a young woman came to me for help. And he said she was going to have a child and she wasn't married and her family was putting pressure on her to drop out of college and get married and have this baby. And so she came to me and she said, I don't want to marry under pressure and I don't want to drop out of college. So Bart McGettrick was thinking about how to help this young woman who he believed was very talented. And he himself had written the rules about what to do. So he knew what he was supposed to do according to the rules. But he, after reflecting on it, he came back to her and he said, look, he said, don't drop out of college. Don't marry under pressure. And we will find a way to help you take care of this child. Now, when he was reflecting on it with us, he said he got enormous pushback from his colleagues who said, you wrote the rules and now you're breaking the rules. And he said, so it takes a lot of personal courage to face up when you believe that you know what's the right thing to do and to sometimes work around the rules in order to do the right thing. Now, in this case, about a decade later, he was on the streets of Glasgow and this woman came up to him and he realized it was the same one. And she had a little boy with her. And she said, Dr. McGettrick, I can't thank you enough for what you did. She said, I'm a teacher. I finished college and I'm a teacher and I think I'm an excellent one. This is my son. And she said, a few years later, I did marry the father of my son, but not under pressure. So what did he do? He looked at this woman and he saw that she was special. He saw what was remarkable in her. He didn't just say, here's a pregnant girl who got herself in trouble. Let's get her out. He looked at her and he saw what she had to offer. And he made it possible. He removed obstacles. He supported her. And so what happened was she stepped into her greatness and she became a contributor. So let me tell you another story. So I'm going to tell you about a man named Bob Stiller. This is someone I know really well. He started a company. He was a founder and CEO of a company that made what came to be known as K-cups and Keurig the Keurig machines, which you may know about. So these are little single cup coffees, and suddenly the world began to be able to have coffee 1 cup at a time. So that was the company that he started. But when he started it, it was a little regional coffee roaster. And so even when they were barely profitable, he told his people, I want you to spend 5% of your time on personal philanthropy. Pick something you care about and spend 6 hours a week working on that. And just let us know what it is you're doing, just so we understand what you're interested in. Then he said, then he became committed to a practice called fair trade, which meant that all the coffee farmers that they were buying coffee from were guaranteed a minimum price for their coffee. And not only did he do that, but then he flew 1/3 of his company in a series of trips to the source countries where the coffee was being grown. And he introduced them to the coffee growers, the farmers, so that the farmers could see who was making their coffee available to the world. And so the people that worked for Bob could see where their coffee was coming from. And the inspiration that came from that was profound. But one of the most interesting things he did, and something that put him on the cover of Forbes magazine, was that he opened a meditation room in the business. And he hired a meditation teacher. And he told his people, you can go to this room anytime you want, as long as it's okay with your manager, to center yourself, to strengthen yourself, to calm yourself, because Bob himself had a strong meditation practice. So Forbes ended up writing a big article about meditation. Now, this was in the 90s, way before it was fashionable. As both Nazar and Shivani said, now meditation is very fashionable, but at that time, you could barely say it out loud. And yet, here he was making this big commitment to it at the center of the business. Then he created an employee stock ownership plan so that when the company finally sold, it was remarkable. There were over 100 people in the little town who became millionaires. And these weren't the top level people. These were secretaries and middle level managers. These were regular folks. And lots of articles have been written about him and about this company. But what did he do? So he hired good people, and then he saw them. He really saw them. He saw who they were and what they were able to do. He removed the obstacles. He supported them in hundreds of ways to be great, to be philanthropic, to be generous. And then he worked to make them great. So it wasn't about inspiring them to follow him. It was about him working to make them really great. So back to the book. So when we were most of the way through writing this book, which was called Something Beyond Greatness, we went back to India and we sat with Dadi. And we wanted to talk with her about these individual great ones that we kept hearing about. So we said to her, Dadi, we keep hearing these names. You know the names, Mother Teresa, Martin Luther King, Mandela, Gandhi. And, you know, Dadi Janki was a little bit mischievous. Those who knew her knew she was just a little bit naughty. And so she got this kind of twinkle in her eye, and she said, you know, Mandela was great. She said he had the capacity for forgiveness that very few people have. She said, but was he able to make everyone forgiving? And she said, Gandhi was amazing. He liberated India. She said, but that wasn't his aim. He didn't set out just to liberate India. He set out to create Ram Raj. He wanted to create heaven on earth. So he was able to liberate India, but he wasn't able to create Ram Raj. She said, with Gandhi, he became very disciplined. He became highly principled. He became very simple. And he was trying to create a community like that. In fact, if you go to Gujarat, to his ashram, you can see what he was attempting to do. And she said, but eventually, what happened was the people were not able to do that. So they just fell back to praising him. Isn't he wonderful? But not becoming that themselves. And so Dottie said, this is not the time for individual great ones. She said, this is the time for communities of greatness. This is the time to create communities of greatness. So I'm going to actually read you a passage from the book because I want to get it right. So we asked her, we said, Dottie, is there something about this time, something that will allow us not to make the mistakes of the past? And she replied, yes. She said, the age of darkness is coming to an end, and the age of truth is coming. This is the time in between. This is the time when it's possible for us to know our true selves, to know God, and to have a relationship with God. We human beings cannot create a community of greatness. Even individual great ones like Gandhi and Mandela could not do this. But God can do this. And that is the task of this time. He accomplishes this task by awakening us and showing us who we really are. At the same time that much of the world is in darkness, the first light of the new world is breaking. When enough people begin to experience themselves and humanity in a way that is not limited by the physical world, in an unlimited way that God sees us, the world will reach a tipping point and will tip in to an age of truth. So Dottie Janki left the body 3 months ago at the age of 104. At the age of 103, she came to Nairobi to visit Nazar. And I'm quite sure that if she were still in the body, she would be with us today. If she were here now, what would she tell us? She would say, ask yourself, who am I? May come. And the Sister Shivani referred to this, and so did Nazar. Who am I? And who do I belong to? So those of us who've been with you today, those of us who've been chatting with you today, we all practice the same kind of meditation. As everyone has said, meditation is now so popular that there are hundreds of sites, there are hundreds of ways to meditate, and there are huge numbers of people trying to do that. One thing that I love about Nazar and this Future of Power project is his sincere compassion for other leaders who, like him, are trying so hard to do good in the world. And this idea that he could help open that door to meditation. So what I want to do is I want to lead you gently into this meditation space. So what I'd like you to do is forget for a minute all the things you've heard, although they're, I'm sure, all helpful. I want you to quiet your mind for a minute. Make it very still. and get your body as comfortable as you can. Put your feet flat on the floor, unless you're adept at the lotus position. And you might try to keep your eyes open. A lot of people, when they meditate, close their eyes, but with Raj Yoga, we keep our eyes open. We do it for a couple of reasons. One is so that we don't fall asleep, so that we're totally present. Another is that once you cultivate the ability to meditate with your eyes open, you can meditate anywhere. A boring meeting, public transit, once we're able to do that again. So keep your eyes open, but you can drop your focus. You can look down at the floor or your knees or whatever. And then every time any thought comes into your mind, just let it go. Notice it and then let it go. And then return your focus. You are the soul. The soul sits behind the eyes. This is the true self. And you're sitting behind the eyes in a moment of stillness, in the awareness of who you are. You are the light. As Nazar said, you are the spirit. And stay in the quietness of that. And then we're going to play a guided meditation. You're going to see an image of a point of light. That is a portrait of you, the soul. And you're going to hear some guidance to help you take your mind into a meditative place. If your mind leaves, bring it back and stay with the meditation for a few minutes so you get this experience that we're talking about. Thank you. Okay, so quietly, with stillness, take your mind away from all the wonderful things you've heard and turn your face inside. I am a point of light. I am eternal. I am peace. And let this feeling of peace fill your awareness. You can travel with your breath. Hold the thought of peace. That no matter what's going on outside, inside, I am in a universe of peace. With each breath that comes in, I'm inhaling peace. My eyes are peaceful. The body is at peace. The mind is still. No memory from the past, no worry about the present, no anxiety about the future can come over the walls of the self. In peace, I am strong and powerful. In peace, I'm resilient. and as a being of peace, as I turn my attention up,
I'm sure that everybody was getting an amazing experience and experiencing the vibrational frequency wherever they were seated, wherever they were throughout the world, and giving them an idea of the possibility of meditation and what is possible. So thank you very much for that very beautiful meditation, and also for your words about Daddy Janki. And just before we go into questions, we wanted to honor Daddy because she was the co-host of The Future of Power and was with us from its inception. And she created this special video for us before she passed for us to hear. So we're now just going to play that video so that we can bring her into the room and you get a sense of her greatness and her good wishes for this program.
Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. देखो हम फ्यूचर ऑफ पावर में पहुंच गई। हमारे निज़ार भाई का रूहानी स्नेह है, कभी भी मैंने पहले मिस नहीं किया। जहाँ जहाँ प्रोग्राम हुआ है, मीठे भाई के स्नेह में, मोरनी के भी स्नेह में हाजिर हो जाती। लेकिन ये भी ड्रामा अनुसार साधनों के द्वारा मिलना होता है, ये भी बड़ी अच्छी बात है। तो अब फ्यूचर ऑफ पावर मैं हंसी में बताती हूँ। आप कहते हो फ्यूचर ऑफ पावर, मैं कहती हूँ पावर ऑफ फ्यूचर क्योंकि फ्यूचर के लिए हमारे अंदर कितनी अभी पावर परमात्मा बाप के द्वारा ऐसी खींच रहे हैं जिसे फ्यूचर बड़ा अच्छा नज़र आ रहा है। क्योंकि एक 3 बातों की पहचान मिली है। अभी आप लोग पता होगा हमारी प्लेटिनम जुबली मना रही है 75 साल की। तो मैं थोड़ा अंदाज़ा लगाती हूँ 75 साल में क्या क्या परमात्मा द्वारा इस आत्मा ने पाया है। जो हम आत्मा ने पाया है, फिर औरों को ऑटोमेटिक जो मिल रहा है वो देने के लिए भाग्य विधाता परमात्मा भाग मिला है, जिससे टाइम अनुसार 5 बातों की पहचान दी है। एक स्वयं, मैं कौन हूँ, समय, बाप, हर आत्माओं से संबंध और सेवा। समझ गए मेरी बात को? 5 बातें। स्वयं को पहले पहचानो, मैं कौन हूँ, किसकी हूँ, मैं क्या कर रही हूँ। समय को पहचानो, ये समय है। वैल्यूज़ को जानना, अपने जीवन में वैल्यूज़ को लाना। जानना, कई वैल्यूज़ को जानते हैं, समझते भी हैं, इंसान में ये वैल्यू होनी चाहिए, लेकिन कर नहीं पाते हैं। अभी यहाँ इस वायुमंडल में आपको संगठन में वैल्यूज़ क्या है, उसमें हम 8 शक्तियाँ 12 वैल्यूज़ है। तो वैल्यूज़ की लिस्ट आपको बहन बताएगी। वहाँ 12 वैल्यू कौन सी है जो जीवन में हमारे गुण, वैल्यूज़, वर्चूस कुछ जब लाइफ में है तो वैल्यू हो जाती है लाइफ की। पर देखा जाता है सारे जो हमारे कोई अवगुण है उसको निकालने की शक्ति चाहिए। उसकी शक्तियाँ धीरज है, सहन शक्ति है, समेटने की शक्ति है, संभालने की शक्ति है, निर्णय करने की शक्ति है, परखने की शक्ति है, संयोग देने की शक्ति है। तो कुदरती शक्तियाँ से वैल्यूज़ मिलकर के जीवन को अच्छा औरों को भी प्रैक्टिकली प्रूफ दिखाने के लिए लाइफ बन जाती है। अभी आजकल हमारे बुद्धि में ये है तो जीवन की घड़ियाँ बहुत अमूल्य है। हम सारा दिन रात एक अंगुली से उसको ऊपर वाले को सदा सामने रखती हूँ, दूसरों टाइम को सामने रखती हूँ। टाइम कहता है मुझे सफल कर, वो कहता है मैं सिखाता हूँ, मुझे क्या प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, बहुत अच्छा लगता है। वो कराने वाला है, समय कर रहा है, मैं उसका फ़ायदा दे करके जी चाहता है। हर आत्मा अपने आप को देख पहचान परमात्मा से जो मिलता है वो जी भर के ले लेवे। परमात्मा क्या देता है? प्यूरिटी, पीस, लव, हैप्पीनेस, पावर। समझा? समझा ना? कौन देता है ये? कोई इंसान दे सकता? प्यूरिटी हो तो पीस आएंगी, पीस होगी तो लव होगा, लव होगा तो हैप्पीनेस आएंगी, हैप्पीनेस में पावर होंगी। ये इतनी 5 चीज़ें परमात्मा से ऐसे हमको मिले, बच्चा समझ के ले लो या अपने इतना लायक बना के खींच लो भगवान से। ओम शांति।
Thank you everybody for joining us, and thank you everybody for the questions that are coming through. So we might just go over to some of those questions. Lots of beautiful questions. Thank you very much. And the first one that I'm going to ask is for Sister Shivani, and it's about the question around higher vibrations, Sister Shivani, and it's how to remain in higher vibrations every time, everywhere, and in every situation.
Om Shanti. How do we remain healthy always? Just by taking care of the body on a daily basis. So when we nourish the body, when we exercise the body, when we sleep well, we remain healthy always. And if there is some disease that manifests, we take care of that immediately and we get back to health. The same for the soul. If we nourish the soul daily, if we energize the soul daily, we'll remain spiritually healthy always. And then if suppose sometimes a little pain, a little discomfort, immediately pause, sit back, change the thought, connect to God, heal ourselves. Not say this pain is normal and not allow ourselves to live in that pain. And so then we can be in that very, very good spiritual health always, in every situation, just taking care on a daily basis.
Great, thank you, thank you. And another question that we've got coming in here is, how do I get to convince someone who doesn't have any spiritual background to embark on this self-exploration?
The easiest way to influence people is to be it yourself. One is, of course, we like to share with people what we have achieved, what we've got, what we've experienced. We want everyone else to experience it. But once, twice, 3 times, can't keep telling family repeatedly to do something which they are not interested in doing, because they are not wrong. One thing we need to remember, everyone does not feel the need for it till they have experimented with it. They don't even know what it was. They just said no to it without even knowing what it was. So really, it's no one's fault if they're saying no to it. If we repeatedly keep asking them to do it, then that issue of spirituality can become an issue of conflict within the family. So we really cannot say it to them again and again, but the easiest way is to live it yourself. And when you are living it, they will see a shift in you. And a shift in you is the practical proof of what you're doing. And that shift will become an inspiration and also an influence, because when you raise your vibrations influence people, because they are living in your energy space, they're working with you, they're living with you. Your vibrations influence them and they start getting pulled towards that higher vibration. And one, they get influenced by your vibration. Two, they see the shift in you. They're able to see that in the same situation in the family or work, you are calm, you are stable, you are accepting, you're not blaming people for what has happened. So they see you as a very different, healthy person. And it's only when they see you as that spiritually, emotionally healthy person, one day, when they feel they need it, they will definitely ask you how to reach there. So just keep doing it, radiate good wishes to them, and radiate your pure vibrations. If you're the one cooking at home, then while cooking, all the love and blessings which you energize the food with will also motivate people and influence people to shift towards a higher vibration. But it is something that we cannot talk about repeatedly. That's definitely not the way.
The question was from one person, but I'm sure the answer was to many. Thank you. So that be the change that you want to see in the world. So the next question is, although we know anger is danger, what is the best way to control ourselves and make calmness our habit?
One is, of course, the daily spiritual study and meditation, because we need to strengthen the soul. You know, one is, it's like, okay, let's think about if I have to quit smoking or I have to quit alcohol. There are two ways of doing it. One way is outside in, which means I decide I'm not going to consume this substance, and I use all the outer methods, which means don't go and meet people who are using it, occupy your mind in something else at that particular time when you're used to at consuming it. So these are all outer methods. So one is a way of changing is from outside in. The other is energize the soul, that when the mind is calm and contented, it does not need any substance to feel happy. So two ways of giving up an addiction, outside in or inside out. Same with anger. One is you can make it a very, very strict discipline that my office is a no anger zone or my house is a no anger zone. And anyways, we don't create anger with everybody. We're still at a stage where we choose who to get angry with. You won't go and get angry with a senior. You choose who to create anger with. So similarly, when you create a no anger zone in your workplace or home, it's an outside in process, which means you're strict in the way of your speaking and behaving, and things inside will change. The other is the inside out, which means energize yourself daily, strengthen yourself, and then you will not fall ill during the day. Anger is an illness. You know, we react, we lose control over ourselves. So when you strengthen yourself daily, you will just start seeing a change in yourself. So if you get angry 5 times in a day, within a few days, you'll say, okay, now it's 2 out of 5. So that's a shift you'll definitely see within a week, 10 days. And then it'll get subtle. Then it is anger outside will finish. Second stage, we need to finish the anger even in our minds, which means I'm perfect in my words and behavior, but I'm not thinking right in my mind. So first anger in behavior, then anger in words, and then anger in my thoughts. So 3 steps to finish that emotion.
And we'll just go back to the questions because they're fantastic questions, and I'm sure that you're getting a lot out of them, and they'll be really filling your heart. So it was a beautiful question, and we were just partway through it. Sister Shivani was about what about addiction for God? Is it not a beautiful dependency?
Addiction word is when you don't have that object or that substance or that person, then it creates a discomfort. When it creates a discomfort, that is not healthy for me. So even if you are meditating daily and one day, suppose you're not able to do it for whatever reason, whatever may be the reason, you're not able to meditate one day. And on that day, if you say, I am not feeling good today because I did not meditate, then we haven't been meditating right. Because if I've been meditating daily, then one day if I'm not able to do it, my mind is not going to be dependent on situations. So connection with God, relationship with God, dependency, but not a discomfort. If there's a discomfort, then that's a depleter. Otherwise, of course, a connection with God is the most beautiful thing, always energizing.
Thank you, Sister Shivani. So there's one more question, Shivani. How do you use emotional intelligence during this period and put it to practice the principle of Sith Prajna as defined in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita? I'm not sure if I pronounced that correctly.
I have not studied the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, so I would not know. I can only share based on what I've learned at the Brahmakumaris is emotional intelligence in the present time, which means situation is not our way, but we are calm and stable, safe and secure emotionally, and most important, caring and compassionate for people who are living with us, working with us, and also for people whom we don't know, which means seva bhav, the power to give. Give in every way, whatever is your capacity, but it's the power of seva which is going to create healing energy for the planet. And power of seva is financially, physically, and through the power of our minds. In Hindi, it's 3 words. It's mansa, vacha, karmana, which means seva through what we do, seva through what we speak, but seva also through what we think. Our mind is a part of the collective consciousness of the planet. Just create a picture, all minds put together. That's the energy of the planet. So even if one mind creates a change and changes and rises in frequency, you're influencing the collective consciousness of the planet. And that's why emotional intelligence, very, very important. We cannot say fear is natural, anxiety is natural. When there is a crisis, we have to be fearless, peaceful, and powerful, and then take charge of the crisis. So taking charge of the crisis is not only in what we do, but also in how we think. So emotional intelligence right now, definitely most important.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Shivani. As we said right at the very beginning of this program, this was the 69th Future of Power program and our first online program, Experiment with Online. And it will be the first of many. And today was just to connect with people from all over the world and to give you a taste of what the Future of Power program is. And what we'd like to invite you before you leave today is just in the chat box, leave what has been your takeaway. What's the one thing that you're going to take away with you so that you will implement and change in your life? So thank you very much for joining us. Any concluding comments, Judy and Shivani?
Well, first I would just say that it's really lovely to it's lovely to attempt this global connection. I understand what it's like to have technical problems. I've gotten some nice messages in the chat, and I understand how people are struggling. The time is not easy. This is a hard time. And it's not only the lockdown that makes it hard. So as Shivani Ben said, it's just so important that you remain strong and powerful yourself. You can't help anyone. You can't help your daughter, your employees, your neighbors, your government if you're not strong and powerful. So make this commitment to your daily practice and then know that you are joining an enormous community of others who are working to bring the world into this new age. Thank you. Om Shanti.
And Shivani?
Thank you so much. I think it's the time where we need to create a paradigm shift. It's not a time for just a little change, but a paradigm shift in the world. And that paradigm shift in the world will begin with a paradigm shift in the self. So I think this program today was a beginning for many of us. And let's begin a new journey from today. Thank you so much. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti, and thank you to everyone for joining us, and we look forward to welcome you back to future of Power programs. Thank you.